The handgun did not start with the revolver. It started nearly 300 years earlier as a mechanism so expensive only kings and nobles could afford it. These are 7 facts about handgun history that change how you see every pistol in every action movie you have ever watched. One of these facts traces a direct line from a mechanism built for royalty to a polymer pistol carried by police officers across America today. And that royal mechanism is exactly where our countdown begins. Number 7, the wheellock pistol rewrites the origin story of the handgun. Developed around 1500 in the Holy Roman Empire, this was the first firearm that could spark its own gunpowder, no burning match cord required. The secret was a spring-loaded steel wheel that spun against a piece of pyrite, throwing sparks into a pan and igniting the charge. But this was no weapon for the average soldier. The wheellock was so expensive and complex that only nobles, princes, and emperors could afford it. Surviving examples, like the double-barreled pistol made for Emperor Charles V, are covered in ivory and engraved with imperial symbols. These pistols were exchanged as royal gifts and displayed as much as fired, more jewelry than battlefield tool. In a world where most people still fought with swords, the earliest handguns became a way for Europe's elite to show off wealth and power, not to arm the masses. Number 6 flips the classic story of Samuel Colt on its head. In 1836, Colt patented his revolving cylinder pistol, a design that promised rapid fire and captured the imagination of gun enthusiasts. But invention didn't guarantee success. Colt's first company, set up in Paterson, New Jersey, struggled to find buyers. Earlier revolving pistols already existed, and technical problems like chain fire, where multiple chambers could go off at once, made people wary. By 1842, the Patent Arms Manufacturing Company had collapsed. The legend of Colt almost ended before it began. What changed everything was war. During the Mexican-American War, Captain Samuel Walker of the Texas Rangers needed a more reliable, powerful sidearm. His order for 1,000 new revolvers, the Colt Walker, gave Colt the cash and credibility to restart his business. That wartime contract didn't just rescue a bankrupt inventor, it set the stage for the revolver to become an American icon. Sometimes, it takes the chaos of war to turn a failed idea into a legend. Number 5 belongs to the Colt Single Action Army, a revolver that owes its legendary nickname to clever marketing, not battlefield glory. Released in 1873, this 6-shooter was adopted by the U.S. Army for cavalry troops and quickly found its way onto store shelves across the American frontier. Settlers, lawmen, and outlaws could all buy the very same gun, but the name that stuck, Peacemaker, was never an official military title or a badge earned in a famous duel. Instead, it was a label dreamed up by Colt's own sales team, eager to pitch the revolver as the tool that would bring order to the Wild West. Early catalogs and advertisements pushed the Peacemaker brand, and the name spread through dime novels, pulp magazines, and later Hollywood westerns. Over time, the marketing slogan eclipsed the gun's original identity, turning a catalog entry into an icon of American folklore. The story of the Peacemaker is less about who drew fastest and more about who told the best story. Number 4 rewrites the story of the first semi-automatic pistol with a twist that feels almost comedic in hindsight. In 1893, German engineer Hugo Borchardt patented the C93, a pistol that looked futuristic but handled more like a science experiment. The C93 introduced the toggle lock action, a mechanism borrowed straight from the Maxim machine gun. Think of a small, spring-loaded elbow that snapped open and shut with every shot. But the real oddity was the grip. Borcherdt's design featured such a steep vertical angle that aiming the pistol felt awkward and unstable. To compensate, the C93 shipped with a detachable wooden shoulder stock, turning this so-called handgun into something closer to a mini rifle just to make it shootable. Despite its clumsy handling, the C93 set the template for what came next. Its toggle lock action was the foundation for Georg Luger's famous parabellum pistol, which would go on to become an icon of the 20th century. The Borchardt C93 stands as a reminder that the path to modern handguns was anything but smooth. Sometimes, even a breakthrough needs a wooden crutch. Number 3 takes us to northern Italy, where a single family has been making handguns since before Shakespeare's first play hit the stage. In 1526, a barrel maker named Bartolomeo Beretta signed a receipt for 185 gun barrels sold to the Arsenal of Venice. That slip of paper, now tucked away in a Venetian archive, marks the official start of the Beretta dynasty. When the Venetian fleet sailed to face the Ottomans at the Battle of Lepanto in 1571, their ships bristled with Beretta barrels, a reminder that long before Beretta logos appeared on police holsters, the family was arming Europe's navies. What sets Beretta apart isn't just age, but unbroken leadership. 15 generations of the same bloodline have steered the company from Renaissance workshops to the modern era. Today, Beretta still produces the M9 pistol, issued for decades to U.S. soldiers. It's a living bridge from black powder and ducats to NATO contracts and sidearms on the battlefield, a 5-century run that no other handgun maker can match. Number 2, the Glock 17 shattered every expectation of what a police pistol was supposed to be. When Gaston Glock unveiled his design in 1982, the idea of a handgun with a polymer frame sounded more like science fiction than police equipment. Rumors spread almost instantly. People claimed the so-called plastic gun could slip through airport metal detectors, turning every security checkpoint into a potential loophole. But the reality was far less dramatic. The Glock always contained a steel slide, barrel, and firing pin, making it just as detectable as any other firearm. What truly set the Glock apart wasn't invisibility, but practicality. At just 34 parts, it was lighter, easier to service, and could hold up to 17 rounds in the magazine, far more than the standard revolvers and steel frame pistols of the day. The price tag was lower too, which caught the attention of budget-conscious police departments. By the 1990s, skepticism had faded, and the Glock 17 became the sidearm of choice for law enforcement across the country. In less than a decade, a gun once dismissed as a gimmick had become the new standard, proving that sometimes the most radical change starts with a rumor and ends with nearly every cop on the beat carrying one. And finally, in first place, a slang phrase did what no single pistol design ever could. It helped reshape federal gun law. The term Saturday Night Special started as a throwaway insult in the early 1900s, used to describe cheap, easily concealed handguns that anyone could buy for a few bucks. By the 1960s, a flood of imported pistols from Europe, brands like Rome of Germany, brought these budget firearms into the national spotlight. Suddenly, the phrase wasn't just street talk. It was front-page news and the focus of congressional hearings. Lawmakers and journalists painted the Saturday Night Special as the weapon of choice for criminals, fueling a moral panic over public safety. The result was the Gun Control Act of 1968, which singled out these inexpensive imports for restriction. Pistols that fit the Saturday Night Special profile, small, poorly made, and cheap, were banned from import, not because of a technical flaw, but because of the stigma attached to a nickname. The irony is hard to miss. A slang term born in back-alley gossip and tabloid headlines ended up shaping decades of American firearms policy. Even today, the phrase echoes through legal debates and Supreme Court briefs, long after most of the original pistols have disappeared from store shelves. It's a reminder that sometimes the words we choose can have more power than the weapons themselves. Across all 7 stories, one truth stands out. Pistols aren't just tools. They're shaped by status, fear, and clever myth-making. The guns we think we know are often products of panic and persuasion as much as engineering. Which fact deserves a deeper dive? Drop your thoughts below.